Welcome to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit.
Oh, well, he's very popular.
And today it's Macro Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Where we show you the big picture and how you can take advantage of it.
Show me the money!
And now, the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome. It's that time. It's your lunch hour. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. It's JJ in the hot seat, Synergy One Lending. Have a great panel in the studio today. Brian Curry, how are you doing?
I'm great,
Second
JJ.
time?
Second time in, yeah.
I cannot be the one to play tricks on you because it's not your first time, and that's what I like to do when it is your first time. And we have repeat offender of a long time now, Elizabeth Story.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Doing well.
Great to have you guys in here. I have some sad news. Don't know if you guys have heard. I think it's probably out in the sports world already, but a local sports legend, I will call him, Tony Gwynn, has passed. He died this morning in the hospital in Poway, around his family. And this is Mr. Padre, Hall of Famer. 20-year career with the San Diego Padres. It's just a sad day for San Diego sports today. I've been in San Diego since 1990, and I grew up a Dodger fan, and it took a little while to get onto the Padre bandwagon. But Tony Gwynn was one of the reasons why I was. Amazing guy. And I think he was just one of those guys that in any sport, you want people like him in the sport. Amazing smile, great sense of humor. I don't think there's anybody that can say anything bad about Mr. Padre out there. And something that's kind of says it all, inducted in his first go-around in the Hall of Fame, with 97.6% votes, which is just incredible. He was inducted in 2007, 54 years old, and that's too soon to end a life in today's day and age. 18th best all-time career batting average of 338, and played a lot of years of baseball, and it's not easy to hit over 300, especially in the professionals. Won 8 National League batting titles. It's tied for second most in Major League Baseball history. 15 All-Star teams, 7 Silver Slugger awards, and 5 Gold Glove awards. I mean, that's, we always think of Tony as the hitter, but 5 Gold Glove awards as well. 19th all-time in hits with 3,141 hits. And something that's just incredible. He hits safely in 75% of the games he played in. And it's a time of mourning, but it's we've got to celebrate people when they pass, and everybody should take a moment and remember something about Tony Gwynn. If you went and saw him in a game last couple of years, he did coach at San Diego State. I wish I would have played baseball under Tony Gwynn at San Diego State when I was there. Would have been an amazing time, and it's just sad. It's just a sad day for sports, sad day for San Diego, and I think things like this, we got to take something away from it, and I don't want to be the downer, but I think. If you know somebody that chews tobacco, it's a tough one. I got into chewing tobacco when I was young in high school, and it's one of those things. It's just what we did. Start with a chew, go to the dip. Not supposed to be doing it, but you do it, and it's tough to give up. It's hard. It's not easy, and. Elizabeth?
I'm going to call my brother-in-law on the way after this show because he's probably chewing tobacco right now, and we've been telling him to quit. His gums are receding, and his dentist is guaranteeing that he will get cancer if he doesn't quit. And I know it's a really hard habit, but, look at Tony Gwynn. He's in his 50s, and passed away.
Yep.
It's an unnecessary loss.
It is, definitely. I'll tell you how I quit. It was 2001, and I don't know. I had those same probably gum things that your brother has. You know, you get these sores, and you just keep moving it around your mouth. Find a spot that doesn't hurt when you do it. And I called the tobacco hotline and said, you know what? I chew tobacco. Been doing it for a long time. Send me what you got. Just send me what you have. And they sent me a bunch of stuff. And I'll tell you what, every sore and bad thing that was in those brochures, I had at one point in time. And I'm hoping that down the road, it doesn't, come back to bite me in the butt, because it's very possible that it can. And I stopped. I bought my last can of Copenhagen in February 14th, Valentine's Day of all days, 2001. That was going to be my last can. I never opened it. But it's a bad habit. It's a bad habit. It's cool when you're doing it. It's fun. It's part of the game. Chew seeds, sunflower seeds or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right. JJ. It's part of the culture of athletics. And I went through the same thing. I played football and baseball and chewed tobacco when I was a kid, really, and then ended up in the Navy for a while. And it was very much prevalent in that culture as well.
Same thing, right? Something to do.
And it's just so difficult to get away from it. I can remember buying a can and throwing it out the window and stopping on the way home and buying another one. It was that difficult, and I finally, after years of trying, gave it up many years ago now. But yeah, I think to celebrate the life of Tony Gwynn too, though, is what a class guy. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the '70s with the great Pirate teams, and Willie Stargell was my childhood baseball hero. And I came to San Diego in 1988, and I was in a helicopter squadron, and we would have squadron baseball day. And we would go out to the ballpark, and we would sit out in the outfield, and that was the best seats we could get. And we would watch Tony Gwynn play, and I just was in awe. And I was a huge baseball fan, and just to celebrate what a class guy he was. And
definitely,
definitely a huge day of mourning. And the Padres, we've been reeling from Jerry Coleman as well, and this is just what a sad day.
It's another one. Yeah, we don't want to lose anybody. Especially at 54, and I think Tony's been kind of keeping his health to himself. It hasn't been out there, so nobody really knew how he was doing. He just signed a new contract with the Aztecs to continue coaching. So when I heard that, I thought things were good, but definitely, just remember a good time, a game that you went to and you saw Tony or his smile or something on TV, even ESPN. Where you saw him, and try to remember him that way today, in a positive light. Great guy, and he will not be forgotten. That is for sure. Do want to congratulate a couple teams. As we move through the year here, we continue on with sports, and it's over. NBA, San Antonio Spurs. They took them down. No three-peat for Miami Heat.
No three-peat there.
No three-peat. And I think it's cool for San Diego because San Diego State, which is not known as until the last couple years, 3 years maybe, San Diego State has not been known for the basketball team that they should have always been. And what an amazing job they've done over there. They're churning out some great players. And Mr. Leonard, congratulations for taking the MVP.
Yeah.
Which is pretty exciting. Who would have thought? Of all guys on that team, third year in the NBA, 22 years old, amazing young player, and probably watch, keep your eyes out for him. Another class act, at his age. And congratulations to the Kings for taking the Stanley Cup. It's coming from L.A. myself, watching Wayne Gretzky when I was a kid growing up. It's, West Coast is just not the hockey town, probably like Pittsburgh is, right?
Yeah. We had Lemieux and some great teams, and still some great teams there. But yeah, what a great coup for LA and for the Kings. And
it's incredible.
I was watching. They were, I think it's great how they make the cup so transparent too. They filled it up with M&Ms at the celebration and just started the party. So it's really good stuff. And the Kawhi Leonard thing, San Diego State's been scratching and clawing to get on the map, and they've really, Coach Fisher's done such a great job of gaining national exposure. What a great thing this is to gain even more exposure to that university and just a class player.
Definitely.
So,
I mean, this will probably enable them to pick up a couple key players.
I think
down
so.
the road.
Yeah.
Something like this goes a long way in helping a school like that is just clawing and doing a great job. I mean, getting in the tournament the last few years and making some headway there. So that's cool. I don't know if you guys are golf fans at all. I didn't have an opportunity to watch the final round yesterday, but I do want to congratulate Martin Kaymer from Germany. Won the U.S. Open yesterday. And it's kind of sad. Here's a guy that had won a major and kind of got beat up because his game fell apart, which is understandable. You go through that pressure zone, the expectations kind of rise up a little bit, and golf's a fickle game. And he didn't have many fans on the golf course this weekend. Led it from wire to wire, which is not easy. Just smoked the field, and people were actually cheering against him at times, which is sad.
That's not sportsmanlike at all.
You would think it's not.
Yeah.
Because you want somebody else to win. I mean, golf's not that game.
Right. Yeah.
You go to a hockey game for that.
Exactly.
Right? Go to a hockey game. You can say what you want. You're expecting a fight. Right. Not on the golf course.
What a great testimony to perseverance, though. You go back a few years ago, David Duval went through the same thing. And I was a huge David Duval fan and would love to see him still, come back and play great golf, but just could not get back over the hump again.
Yeah.
So, the true testament of perseverance for this player, and just drowning everything out and just staying focused and leading wire to wire. What a great win! So.
Definitely, and you know what, perseverance. I think that's a great statement in this case. And we lost somebody else in the world of radio, Casey Kasem, and
so sad.
Another sad loss. And the thing that he would say, on exiting his show is, keep your feet on the ground and reach for the stars. Right? That was his saying, and it's about perseverance. It's about staying grounded and reach for something higher, reach for something more all the time. And not an easy opening segment here today, but that's what we have. That's what's going on out there. We have two amazing people in the real estate community that are right here local in San Diego. We bring these people so we can make you smarter than everyone else. When we come back, we're going to talk about new home sales. We're going to talk about inventory. You've heard the levels are going up. They have been. What does that mean for you if you're looking to buy or sell a home? It's your lunch hour, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today it's Macro Monday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back to your Lunch Hour, 1700 Mr. Credit. It's JJ, Synergy One Lending, running the show. We have Elizabeth Story with StoryRealtors.com, Brian Curry, BrianCurry.com. Two local real estate experts here to bring it to you. And guys, this is interesting. So, we always get these stories, right? Story out there. And some of the times we just have to break it down. What's reality? What's the truth? Because stories are stories, and sometimes they're written for, to kind of pro one side. But this one I just found interesting. It was on Reuters, and so U.S. homebuilder sentiment rises for the first time this year. Now, this is the National Association of Home Builders, and it's an index of homebuilder confidence. And what's interesting to me is it's the first time that it's getting close to where 50% of the home builders feel confident this year. Because, that's where they're gauging it. It's just an average, Let's say they're asking 100 people, and if it's below 50, if the index number is below 50, then there's more people that, are not confident, more builders that aren't confident. And if it's above 50, then There's you know, they're very confident, and you get certain builders on the airwaves sometimes, and they're talking about their particular housing track or something like that, and it could be very positive. But it was very shocking to me that we're in June, and it's just coming out, and now the percentages are getting close, and we're not even over that 50% mark, but it rose to 49 in June, and this is just interesting because here locally in San Diego, the housing market has been strong all year. Maybe January started off a little bit slow, which is normal, common. February, I know the numbers weren't all strong, but it's a short month, so that also has something to do with it. People rarely talk about how quick February is, and now we're here in June, and they're just getting confident. So my question is there something to read into this? Elizabeth, I'll start with you.
I think it's a good sign. I don't know how much reading in there is to do other than it's a good sign. I'm excited to see inventory picking up and consumer confidence coming and builder confidence coming. So perhaps this builder confidence will help also strengthen the consumer confidence, which is good for the industry as a whole.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting sentiment right there. Is this going to strengthen consumer confidence? And I think I find it to be an interesting time of year to bring this report out. This is something I hoped we would have saw end of March, early April.
Yeah.
So I think that in and of itself is a pretty interesting statement for a national average at 49% right now. So I do hope it brings in consumer confidence. What's interesting in San Diego is that we have a lot of inventory right now. And there's, if you go and drive around San Diego, there's not a lot of dirt in San Diego to build on.
There is not.
So, and most new construction in San Diego is attached to a fairly hefty fee or a fairly hefty Mello-Roos or a fairly hefty fee and Mello-Roos together. So, I would like to see statistically what San Diego looks like in the new construction realm versus the rest of the United States.
Right.
Yeah, and that's always the problem with these.
Right.
A lot of stories. What we always have to remember is, we do take these national sort of indexes and national averages and national median home prices into account, and we're localized here in a very strong real estate market and a place where people want to be. Yep. I mean, plain and simple, people want to be here. And this past weekend was testament to that. You can
that
see I got a little
had
too
a value.
Yeah,
that.
it did. It did. Yeah, I pay more in water for the sunshine that cooked my face this weekend. Yeah. But so one of the things, there's only so much new construction here, right? And we talk about there's only so much dirt, so you can't really build a lot. We're starting to see a lot of infill projects around, so new construction are these little projects. They're not these thousands of homes. So, when we think of, comparing the real estate market, looking at the builders, is it something to even do?
It's interesting, JJ, because you go back into the height of the market in 2004 through 2006, and when a builder would release a phase, that phase was 35 homes. And you were lined up, people were camped out. I can remember there was a phase in Sabre Springs, and I was driving down Poway Road, and there was tents along the road, and I was like, what are these people doing? A phase release now is 4 homes, 5 homes. So the numbers are skewed against the market as well, just based on how many people really want to get into a phase, new construction phase. So, yeah, it's an interesting number.
It is, yeah. Elizabeth, I know you work with, the different projects that you've worked with in San Diego. Do people need to even pay attention to articles like this when they're looking? Forget, maybe they don't know they want new construction or just normal resale home. But should we be paying attention to this stuff?
Not really. I really don't think so. It's good news and great. It's good news so far, and then that's about all I would probably do with it. The builder confidence is up. Yay! It really only affects you, too, if you're buying new construction and you're worried about builder confidence. Yeah. If neither of those apply to you, then unless it has some overarching reach to the consumer confidence, then it really wouldn't affect you anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So here's a question, and this stems from something that recently happened. A buddy of mine, they're actually from the East Coast, and they've been out here for quite some time. And they've kind of just been hanging tight, waiting for the right time to buy. And they readily admit they've missed the perfect time. They have readily admitted they gave up 25% equity position by not buying when I told them to buy, when I told them it was the right time to buy, when I told them prices were at the bottom of the barrel. But that's okay. They're probably on a plane heading to the East Coast right now, so I don't think they're listening. So I can't say I told you so. And that's not what anybody should pay attention to. But here's the thing. So he went into there's a little infill project, not a lot of homes, and he went in there and checking out the model, right? And the builder said, hey, you know what? Why don't you got to do the pre-approval thing? Let's get your paperwork going. And they're like, well, what's the price? How are the homes priced? Well, once we review your financials, we will release the price of the homes to you. Okay. So this just sounds fishy to me. I'm sorry. You're telling me that I have to give you my financials so you can see what I can qualify for before you give me the price of the home? Is that something that's going on out there?
Yeah, I didn't know that pricing was that big of a secret.
Yeah, that's very odd.
Is that odd? Now, this is a small project, and I'll tell you, the builder is a big builder. It's a big builder, and it's a small project within this big company. Now, I know that, hey, pre-approvals, they want to get you pre-approved to make sure that, you can buy what you want to take a look at. But before they'll release a price to you seems a little bit odd. Going back to, Brian, your comment on, the builders are only releasing 4 or 5 homes at a time. They've definitely got the market a little bit smarter now. Hey, we don't need to release 20, 30 homes. We can release 1 or 2 and, pad the pocketbook because those now sell. People now want the homes, and it's supply and demand. We only have so much. You want in, you got to pay the piper. But to look at my financials beforehand.
It's as a buyer going in there, I'm sure you're petrified.
Yes.
Because now it's preloaded. If I give you my financials and I show you that I qualify for number X, then you can skew the price to number X. I'm sure that's the buyer's sentiment. Maybe the best advice to the buyer is walk in there and ask for a sheet of what a home comes with, what the upgrades look like. Don't tell me the price.
Yeah.
And then I can make a determination based on my own knowledge of the market as a buyer. Yeah, that's a scary precedent that they're setting with I need to see your financials. I want to know what you're pre-approved at. No, by the way, here's the upgrade package after the fact.
Looks good, doesn't it? Yeah,
that's a scary precedent that's being set there.
So do you need representation?
Absolutely. And you have to have it before you even walk in the door the first time, because a lot of these places, if your agent does not go with you the very first time and get you registered, they refuse to cooperate, at least on the compensation piece. So then you don't get that representation that you deserve. And so, like, I've sold new construction, as you know, because we've been on the show together. And I always make sure that all my clients know, you got to take me with you the very first time. I have to sign you up before you do it.
So let's dial this in. I mean, you want the representation. I mean, because think about it. You're going into a place where they have total control. They have total control. Once you walk in, once you sign up and walk in, they're representing both sides here, and they're representing the seller. I mean, let's face it, it's new construction. They're representing the seller. So let's say, Elizabeth, I'm cruising around on the weekend. You've been representing me for 6 months. I didn't even know this project was there. And I said, you know what, honey, let's just stop by. Let's go check it out. How do I do that? How do I get you involved without calling you and trying to get you to come down with me?
Some builders might allow you to just go in and when you fill out the application say, yes, I am working with an agent. But they might tell you yes and then later on kind of change their mind about that. But if it's a situation where you're right there and you just have to go right this minute, at the very least, tell them that you are working with an agent.
Okay.
But it's much preferred to just pick up the phone and call your agent and see if your agent can meet you.
Just meet down there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Brian, is there negotiation power in new construction? I mean, can you negotiate?
I think there is. I think that, the way I do new construction is, and I explain this to my buyers right up front because they're not always going to be with me. So I try to create as much transparency as I possibly can. You're going to drive past a development. You're going to drive in. You're going to talk to the people. Let them know right up front that you're working with a broker. And unfortunately, he's not here with me because we're just driving around. My experience has been most of the time that builder will acknowledge the fact that they're working with a broker. They'll call me, hey, your client's in here. Are you? Yes, I am. I can get down there. Or if I can't get down there, fill me in on the specs. But there's definitely negotiating room. There's definitely leverage when you take your agent with you into this new construction stuff. Because, again, it goes back to, essentially this is a double-ended deal for the builder.
Right.
Which I try to shy away from because, whose interest do I have? Do I have the seller's interest? Do I have the buyer's interest? This shouldn't be a transaction. This should be a advisory position that you as a broker take with your client. So, going in there with my buyers, I definitely have leverage and negotiating ability there.
That's Brian Curry, Coldwell Banker, BrianCurry.com. We have Elizabeth Story, StoryRealtors.com. And they're bringing you the truth about the builders. And I'm here to tell you, too, just seeing it from the lending perspective, you need representation. Don't walk into a home builder's office alone. You need representation. If you want to negotiate the price, if you want to negotiate upgrades or add-ons or anything that has to do, make sure that you are properly represented. If you want to get in touch with our guests, you can always go to AskJJNow.com, and I will put you directly in contact with our panel today. When we come back, I want to talk about inventory because it's up. And what does that mean for you if you're buying or selling a home? It's your lunch hour, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today it's Macro Monday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back. It's your lunch hour. Thank you for taking the time to join us. 1700 ESPN, Mr. Credit Show. It's JJ filling in for Mr. C. So, this is the big news on the street. Inventory levels are up. We are with Elizabeth Story, Allison James, StoryRealtors.com, Brian Curry, Coldwell Banker, BrianCurry.com. And guys, we go back not that long ago. Here we are in the middle of June, 5 days away from the official start of summer. I think it's June 21st. I could be wrong on that, but I keep saying it, so I'm hoping that it's right. Just maybe in February or March, inventory levels were at maybe 3,500 homes, maybe even in April. I don't know that number, but now we just bumped up over 7,000 homes for sale for the first time in 2 years in San Diego County. And, it's amazing because I work with the buyers, right? I work with the ones who are looking for the money to get into the house. So for me, this is great because it's a chance. It seems like it's a chance for people to get into homes, but I don't know if it's good or bad. It's funny because you work with a lot of different people, and people have a bunch of different things. But we have an article here that kind of shows that inventory levels are up, but prices are also up, especially in the North County area. So, now we're in the heat of the summer. We're now in it, right? This is the time. If you're looking to buy or sell, a lot of people will say, well, summertime. Just wait for summer. Well, summer's here. And inventory levels are in your favor. So, Brian, I'm curious, is this good or bad?
I think overall, it could potentially be bad. You go back and look, and you got to do a little history lesson on the real estate market in San Diego over the last 12, 14 months to understand why we are where we are. Last April through June, 18% gain in the market. I think that was the number, 18%. So we had this huge run-up. And what was the fuel of the run-up? It was 3.5% interest rates. So you were a happy guy
yes.
at that time. Going to summer, the difference in, summer is a great market to buy and sell, but also summer is a time to take the family on vacation, do a little 4th of July, do a couple summer camps, and then get back into school. So early August of last year, rates go up a full point. And then the government shuts down every Friday. Then the government says, well, that's just not enough. Let's just shut the whole thing down for a while. We go into the holiday season, and then the tax laws change this year, too. So now people that were getting refunds in the past are not paying a lot of taxes, are paying a lot more tax now. So I think that all these accumulative effects have put the sellers in April, May, which is a great time to list a house in San Diego, April, May, because people are going to get ready to list, get those kids out of school, buy their new house, go on vacation. I think now we have this 6-month hangover, if you will, in the market. Now people are going, oh, wait, I got to get this house sold. I'm still wanting to move. You know, you talk about the numbers in North County, great schools. There's great schools all over San Diego. They want to be close to the beach. They want to be in the great school system. There's a lot of newer construction up in the North County. So I think that's one of the fuels of the market. But I think you have to look at that whole entire push of the market over the last 14 months to understand why we had this little bit of a hangover. Now, boom, we have this, a lot of inventory dumped on us at one time, and I think potentially it could draw the market out, which is not healthy.
Yeah, that would not be a good thing. Elizabeth, what do you think here?
Well, I was concerned too. What would actually happen when we have the inventory shift, and what's it going to do to prices? Because that's the $5 million question. But I was very encouraged reading the article and the statistics that showed that even though we had an increase in inventory, it did not either increase market time, which I thought was great. So buyers were still snatching them up quickly, and that prices are still going up. So I think that that's good, for sellers. Obviously, that's probably not the news you want when you're a buyer, but so far it hasn't hurt prices, which is great news for everybody out there looking to sell. And so hopefully sellers will see the inventory goes up, prices still go up, and more sellers will put more homes on the market. But I don't know at what point that pendulum may swing to hurt prices. So hopefully it doesn't.
Well, I'll tell you, from my perspective, everybody that I talk to that's in my business, they have, drawers of pre-approved buyers. So I think, that's a good sign, is that there's a lot of people that have been pre-approved, they have their financing sort of in order, and they've just been waiting, and they've been bid out. They've been bid out, they've been bid out, they've been bid out. They've looked at the homes, gone against the 20 offers, gone against the 10 offers. They've taken a break, they've come back, they've been bid out, bid out, bid out. So I think, from my perspective, from a supply-demand, there's enough buyers out there to suck up this inventory at these levels. I just don't, I don't know. Will the confidence remain high? What do you think?
I think that this is hopefully, and I think the Fed has it figured out to a certain degree, and we talked about this before. The Fed keeps us in channels now. They move those rates. It used to be you get in a 30 or 45-day escrow lock rate on day 3, and you were good because it wasn't going anywhere. Now it moves every Tuesday or every Thursday, or I don't even know how often it moves.
It can move every day.
Every day. So what's interesting now, and just like you said, the lenders have these drawers full of applications with qualified buyers, but for the longest time, we couldn't get a first-time home buyer in, which is really the fuel that we need in the market right now. We need the FHA folks. We need the VA folks, these first-time home buyers. We need them getting places now because that fuels the market down line, too. Yeah. So I think that if the inventory is going to be strong, and the rates stay strong, get the consumer confidence up a little bit more, get a few more of these first-time home buyers into homes, that I think is success in the market.
Yeah. So Elizabeth, who's running the show now on the street? Inventory levels over 7,000. For last year this time it was the seller running the show, hands down. Could call the shots. Who's in charge? Is it an even playing field?
It's almost an even playing field because the sellers are knowing that there's more inventory coming on the market, but also buyers are so savvy anymore. There's just not a lot of people out there who are willing to pay over market value. And so it's almost kind of like a standoff. I'm not really sure who's in control anymore.
The old Texas standoff.
Yeah, because consumers are so informed. Sellers are so informed, and buyers are so informed, and there's so many great agents out there working this market that I really feel like it's anybody's call whether it's a buyer or seller's market. I think it's specific to each property, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Brian, what do you think?
Location.
Go back to that. Get close to the blue stuff.
It's the oldest mantra in real estate, and we lost sight of that somewhere in 2005, 2006, and I think that Elizabeth hit it right on. This is about individual properties and the viability of those properties. Is it priced correctly? Is the seller empowered with the right information? Is the buyer empowered with the right loan and the right information? I think that, we talk a lot about making deals in the market. Truly a deal that's made in the market, or fair market value, if you will, is a ready, willing, and able buyer and a ready, willing, and able seller, and where they meet. That's market value.
Yep. So I agree with that, and it's a shame. Let's all remember real estate transactions, and what I hate to see are $1 million real estate transactions that are blown up over $5,000-$10,000. You get this pride involved, and people puff their chests up, and they want to win. It's not about winning the game. It's not about being the winner on the seller side or the buyer side. You don't have to worry about, did you get the best deal? You know, it's a home. It's a home that you're planning on living in and moving in, or maybe you're planning on renting it out, and that's okay too. But don't try to be the winner of the game. We don't need that game out there. Let's keep the real estate market feeling in the right direction. When we come back, we're going to continue on the inventory. We're also going to talk about the credit standards and the loan programs out there. Is this helping? Is it hurting? It's your lunch hour, 1700 ESPN, when we come back.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today it's Macro Monday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back. It's your Lunch Hour 1700. It's JJ, Synergy One Lending. If you have any questions to get into the Mr. Credit inbox, always go to AskJJNow.com. Feel free to call me, email me. I can put you in touch with our amazing panel today. Elizabeth Story, StoryRealtors.com. Brian Curry, Coldwell Banker, BrianCurry.com. And we were just talking about inventory levels, and, you know, they're up. And you don't need to be afraid of that. I think that's the biggest thing. If you're a seller, get your house on the market and be a part of it, because, you know, as you venture and you miss the summer months, now you're back into the fall. Now, what's going to happen to interest rates? Now, last year, as Brian mentioned, interest rates shot up 1%, slowed the market down drastically. And luckily, the Feds cooperated, and they've done whatever magic they need to do on the back end, stuff that we don't know about, and rates have come down a little bit to keep everything kind of moving in the right direction. But there are plenty of buyers out there. Inventory levels are up. There's a good amount of homes out there for you to search. Make sure you're working with the right representation. That's why we bring these people onto the show for you on this Macro Monday, to make you smarter than everybody else. So just make sure you work with somebody that's competent, that's going to go to bat for you. And that's what it's all about, negotiating the right deal for your situation, because every deal is different. It's a transition in your life. Make sure that transition moves in the right direction. So one thing that, you know, has come up a lot is banking and tighter credit standards, loans. You know, talk about loans are harder to get. And, you know, for me, it's pretty fair. I'm in that. I'm in the trenches. Qualifying people. We talk about debt to income ratios. And people always want it looser. They want it easier to get. They want less paperwork. But here's the reality. And I'm going to get your guys' point on this. You know, are the tighter credit standards a good thing? And for me, I think they are a good thing. I mean, here we have this market right now where inventory levels are up. Prices have gone up. I mean, 18% year over year. We've gained a lot of equity back for people, and people are qualifying. That's the thing. People are qualifying for the money they're borrowing.
Yay!
Right? That's a good thing, people. That's a good thing. So don't complain. I mean, this is a good thing. We don't want the credit standards to unravel and loosen up too much. And I don't think they can, because I don't think the regulators will allow it. But you are starting to hear about new programs down the road coming out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we need them. I'm not sure if we need them. I think there's enough leniency out there right now with FHA 3.5% down, VA 0% down, amazing loan program for you vets out there who can use the VA loan programs. I mean, Elizabeth, what are you seeing out there? I mean, you know, do you feel like, you know, with people qualifying, I mean, to me, it's a good thing. Do you think it's a problem to have these tighter credit standards?
Absolutely not. I think having tighter credit standards is good for the market today, and it's good for the market in 5 years, and it's good for the market in 10 years. Because people who got 100% loans when they walked away from the house, they didn't have anything to lose. They basically got free rent, you know. And now when people are putting 20% down or less, but still putting money down and still very well qualified for the loan that they're getting, that means they're going to stay in that home and they're going to stay for a long time. And the last thing you want is your neighbor's house to be a short sale, right?
Right.
So this prevents that.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it creates a balance in the market, and I think that's a good thing. You know, we have more reality in the market now. But by the same token, it all depends on who you ask. If you ask the seller, they don't want that tight credit standard. Right. If you have the buyer that short sold 4 years ago, he doesn't want that tight credit standard either. But I do think overall it creates a balance in the market that we've been sorely lacking for a long, long time, and we really need that. So.
Yeah, and I think the stability aspect of it, I mean, we cannot compare this last run-up because what I'm afraid of is as prices kind of continue up and inventory levels continue up, the talk of a real estate bubble coming to fruition. And I don't think that you can compare, because we're not comparing apples to apples. In the 2000s through that, 2002 to 2006, 2007 range, we were talking about 100% financing.
Right.
People were barely touching FHA loans. Barely touching VA loans. I mean, we were just doing 80-20s. That's, 0 down, 2 loans, get in, and that's what created that bubble because people didn't have skin in the game.
Right.
We don't have that now.
And it used to be legal to basically lie. It was stated financing. We used to call it jokingly the liar loan because you could make up whatever number you wanted.
If you could fog a mirror, you could get a loan.
Yeah. And we don't have that now. So, it's something to remember. You're going to qualify for what you qualify for. You can always push the box. There's corners and there's sides to the box, but you can push it. There are good portfolio loans out there for people that have done that short sale, that want to get in, that have the right down payments to get back into the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And I think if there's one area that could loosen up a little bit, it's for that well-qualified borrower that really did have that financial hardship, and had to do the short sale.
I hearken back to something, JJ, that you talked about at the beginning of the show, which was basically buyers and sellers trying to time the market. And it's, I think, almost impossible to time the market. I can remember in 2005 when I had, husband, wife, 2 children in tow, pregnant with twins. Brian, we need to get in. We're living in a 2-bedroom apartment. So you can't time that.
Yeah.
That just happens. That's a life event that happens. So I think that, I absolutely agree with you. I think there's a lot, and some of this hardship was irresponsibility.
Yes.
But some of this hardship was life's events got in the way, and this is where we're at now. Yeah. So I think that, case by case, situation by situation, but I do think that, even those people, if they qualify, let's get them back in there. These are ready, willing, and able people that are responsible and want to buy a home. They just had a life event that created some catastrophe for them.
I agree. And I think if there's a loosening in the conventional side of the jumbo space, it is for that hardship that you can prove out. It's not the one that's another lie. It's the one that you can really prove out. So, guys, I have a question from the Mr. Credit inbox here that I do want to get to. And this is just an interesting one because, we live in such a wonderful place here. And we have time for this. And if you want to get your question in, just go to askjjnow.com, email the question. We'll try to get it on air. Mr. C. Well, you're talking to JJ today. I've lived in San Diego my entire life and love it here so much. Been looking to purchase a home for over a year and either get beat out of the offer or the sellers want what I perceive to be too much. I want a good deal. My dilemma is this. I recently took a trip to Georgia for a wedding for a buddy of mine and looked at homes there. I can buy a 3,500 square foot house with a lot of land for $250,000. Wow. With the company I work with, I can work from anywhere. I love it so much. But is it just smarter, or I love it here so much, but is it just smarter to relocate to get started in home ownership? Brian, I'm going to start with you, and then Elizabeth will finish up.
It's humid in Georgia.
There's bugs there.
Yeah, it's an interesting, what a great question. This is about lifestyle choices. Living in San Diego, and I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've been on here since 1988, and I'm not going anywhere.
Yep.
It's about a lifestyle choice for me. And unfortunately, the sun in San Diego is a little bit more expensive than it is a lot of other places in the world. I think that, to look at the beginning of his question, I think that there needs to be some transparency there from his agent. Let's really look at comps. Let's really evaluate what our target is and really refine that. And I think that that's where success is created for situations like this.
Yeah. Elizabeth, what do you think?
Well, it goes back to lifestyle choice, but I'm trying to figure out here, is he thinking that he's going to get more appreciation in Georgia? Because he'll get
Just
in.
more home, maybe, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he'll get in for less, but he'll also eventually probably sell for less, too. So you're going to have a much less appreciation in Georgia than you would in San Diego, right? So I think that it's important to have that question answered. And, he says he wants a good deal. It's one of those things, again, if there's an inventory shortage and there's qualified buyers in the marketplace and you want a good deal, well, good luck for you and your agent.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's Mr. San Diego. And if you want to send in an email anonymously, you can always do so. And we'll respond to it. The thing is, Elizabeth, you brought up a great point. I mean, appreciation. We talk about appreciation here. I mean, you're not going to get 18%, 10%. Appreciation gains year over year. And not that we're going to continue down that path because it would probably be unhealthy to do so, but you're probably that 250 place for 3,500 square feet probably was 250 2 years ago too.
Right.
And it doesn't change that much because you're dealing with big bugs, you're dealing with a lot of humidity, you're dealing with, a job market that may not be as strong as certain areas here. And frankly, it's just not as pretty of a place to live. I mean, you're buying a home in a vacation area. People come to San Diego to vacation here. That is worth something. You could rent your home down the road, probably cash flow. You probably can't do that in Georgia. So definitely something to think about. If you want any information, you want to get a hold of Elizabeth Story, storyrealtors.com, Brian Curry, Coldwell Banker, briancurry.com, or just email me, Ask JJ now, and I will put you in touch with our two guests today. Amazing show today, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy days. Brian, thank you.
Appreciate
Second time. Looking forward to having you on next time. Elizabeth, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Always great to have you in the studio. This is JJ Synergy One Lending. Until next time on Wednesday, it's your lunch hour, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like to contact Mr. Credit or access any free offers mentioned on the show, just go to MrCredit.org. That's MrCredit.org.